So, what if the best marketing plan wasn't about building the perfect, polished image, but about dropping the act completely? Today, we're going to dig into the really counterintuitive but wildly successful philosophy of real estate CEO Kris Lindahl. He argues that being unapologetically authentic is the only strategy that's actually going to last in the long run.
And he comes right out of the gate with a punch. Lindahl says that when you avoid telling your own story, you're not being humble. No, you're actually being selfish. It's a pretty provocative idea, right? It just flips the whole script on personal branding. He believes hiding your journey, your struggles, it robs other people of a lesson, a connection, or maybe even just the permission they need to be themselves.
So, you have to ask, how does a marketing choice suddenly become a moral duty? What makes sharing our personal truth so critical that keeping it to yourself is actually considered selfish? Let's dive into that.
Okay, to really get this, we have to look at his first big concept, the selfishness of silence. See, for Lindahl, your story isn't just about you. It's a tool that can unlock potential in other people. And by staying silent, you're basically hoarding that tool all to yourself.
This just completely reframes what vulnerability is. It's not a weakness, not at all. It's actually a form of leadership. When you share your struggles, your wins, everything, you're essentially looking at everyone watching and saying, hey, it's okay, you can do this too. You're handing them a roadmap and the power to start their own journey.
So, where does a perspective like this even come from? Well, to understand that, we gotta look at his background, back when he was a teacher.
Lindahl wasn't born into some real estate dynasty. He started his career as a teacher. He founded his own brokerage back in 2018 and has since led it to billions in sales. This jump from the classroom to the boardroom, it's the key to his entire philosophy. And what's really important here is that he doesn't see his past as something he left behind. He sees his time as a teacher and even the personal trauma he's overcome as the very source of his high-performance mindset. He really believes those experiences are what built the emotional intelligence and intuition he now relies on as a leader.
But this confidence, it wasn't always there. Not by a long shot. In fact, his big marketing breakthrough was born from this moment of pretty intense fear and failure, a moment he calls the hostage video challenge.
Just picture this for a second. You know you need to be on video, you know it's the future, but every single time you hit that record button, it just feels so wrong. Well, that's exactly where Lindahl found himself. He described his first attempts as, and I quote, literally disastrous. And here's kind of how that fear played out. First, the goal was simple enough. Just make some videos. But then came the excuses. For 2 whole months, he was buying cheap green screens, lights, suits, you name it, anything to just put off the actual work. And then it hit him. He wasn't afraid of the work. He was absolutely terrified of putting it out there and facing rejection. The final step was just to grit his teeth and hit publish. And let's be real for a minute, haven't we all? That project you keep researching forever, that great idea you never quite launch? It's that moment where procrastination isn't really about being lazy, it's about a deep, deep fear of what other people are going to think. So getting over that hostage video fear, that was everything. It led to his biggest breakthrough. And it wasn't about getting better scripts or fancier cameras. No, it was a fundamental shift in his entire approach to his public and private self.
And this is it, the core idea. He just decided to stop performing. The person his neighbors saw, the person his family knew, that would be the exact same person his clients and his colleagues saw. No mask, no professional persona, just one single integrated person.
And he even baked this internal shift right into his external brand. You know that famous arms out pose you see in all his marketing? That's not just some random gimmick. It's a symbol of this entire philosophy, an open invitation for people to connect with the real person, not some carefully polished image. So what's the biggest payoff of all this? Lindahl says it lets you avoid the heavy work of maintaining a persona. I mean, just think about the mental energy, the sheer exhaustion it takes to constantly switch between who you are and who you're pretending to be. Being authentic isn't just more honest, it frees up all that energy. It's sustainable because it gets rid of that heavy, exhausting work. Okay, so having a personal breakthrough is one thing. But how in the world do you turn that philosophy into a massive billion-dollar business? I mean, how do you even scale authenticity? He went from being terrified of one video to embracing it at this unbelievable scale. And that leap was only possible because he fully bought into the idea that any authentic content was way better than a single perfectly polished fake one. He actually built an automated system that pumps out hundreds of low-quality, super local videos every single day to just monopolize Google search results. He uses real-time market feedback to meet people exactly where they are.
And he's got some really clear, actionable rules for keeping his head on straight amid all that chaos. First up, mindset. You have to detach from criticism. How they feel about me is their business, not my business. Second, your phone. Reframe social media as a tool for giving value, not for getting attention. Third, your time. You have to be ruthless in protecting time for what really matters, like family. And finally, your growth. Don't try to do it all alone.
And this last point, it's so important for anyone looking to scale. Lindahl's advice is to invest your time, your money, whatever it takes, to find a mentor who has already made all the mistakes you're about to make. It's the ultimate shortcut. Learning from their experience is what lets you move so much faster. You know, when you boil it all down, this whole thing circles back to one single powerful idea. The goal isn't just closings or commissions. The real measure of your mission is the impact you have on other people, whether that's your clients, your colleagues, or just a total stranger who sees your story and feels empowered. So that really just leaves us with one final question to think about. After hearing all this, what's the part of your journey, your struggle, or your truth that you've been keeping quiet? And what kind of impact could you have if you finally decided to share it?